Dale and this is Dale's Addiction. And thanks for those of you who have forwarded me the link to Lydia Millen's recent video where, you know, around 2/3 of the way through, she sits down and tells us that she is going to collaborate with Fairfax and Favour, I think that's their name, a British brand. She unboxes a pre-loved mulberry bag and she tells us that she'll soon be selling off all of her luxury handbag collection because it doesn't really fit into her lifestyle anymore, because she doesn't feel safe having those bags in her home, on her person, or wearing them out and about in London, which is really the only place that she does wear them. That she doesn't like the process by which you acquire these bags, and she has acquired vintage, pre-loved and store pieces, and therefore she has decided that she no longer requires the approval of anyone else, or nor does she need to prove her success to herself or others by the purchasing and carrying of luxury handbags, primarily HERMES. If you haven't watched the video, I will link it in the description box below. I have not prepared for this video, but I have a few thoughts that are kind of just bubbling around in my mind. And the first thing that came to my mind was how we can make somebody else's epiphanies criteria for our own maturity or point of view, and then how we react to that, whether it's right or wrong. And for me, I didn't have any feelings. I think Lydia has continued to change and evolve over the course of time that I've been watching her, and I didn't see the video because I don't subscribe anymore. The lifestyle that Lydia is living, along with a couple of other UK influencers, it's nothing compared to mine. In fact, I might put it on as company when I'm home alone and I just want some background noise, but it's not something that I'm influenced by, that I want to do. I'm not, you know, getting my sourdough starter happening. I'm not in the greenhouse potting bulbs for spring. I'm not riding a horse, and I don't have relationships with clothing brands that are related to equestrian or Cotswolds, you know, high fashion. It's not me. It is entertainment. It's not relatable, therefore it doesn't influence me. And I think that some of the risk of us watching people who create content, who may also be influencers, is that we then determine our own life choices based on whether or not they align to said person, in this case Lydia. It's her truth, you know, as far as we know. And why does it mean that our truth is any less valid? So this whole thing happened when Nikki Sky sold all of her bags off, and, you know, I didn't contribute to that conversation. I was kind of sick of hearing about it, as you might well be, and therefore, having clicked on this video, I hope it's worth your while. It works for them at that point of time in their lives. Now, I've just jumped on the H train, right? I am slow to the ballpark as it relates to HERMES. But I know that a lot of people, in relation to, you know, lifestyle, would say that they couldn't justify having these bags in their lives, whether or not it's the work that they do, whether or not it's their family and caring responsibilities, whether or not it's where they live. There's a bunch of reasons why people won't buy luxury, wear or carry luxury, dependent on their lifestyle. And so Lydia's lifestyle changes and reasons should bear no impact on anyone else's unless you're living an exact carbon copy of her life. In terms of the next point, which was the safety and security of when you do get the opportunity to wear your luxury handbags, it's typically in a place where you feel unsafe to do so, and also that you feel like a target in your own home by having valuable items that people desire. And I think that one's, that's been kind of an evolving conversation on social media for the last couple of years, particularly in the UK. And there have been a couple of very large content creators who have shared the stories of their personal homes and luggages being broken into or stolen, and the contents therein being, luxury handbags. And the impact that that would have on your desire to continue to carry those pieces would be tricky. But I think that's also, it's not on its own. It's also the fact that you live a very public life, you're very recognisable, and people know what you're carrying. And if they know who you are and what you're carrying, there's a fair chance they can add up what the opportunity is there. Now, I'm not saying that if you're anonymous that you're less likely to be a target, but I probably am, actually. And I know plenty of us who are, resolute nobodies in terms of the world stage, have been targeted, whether it's been a bag snatch, whether it's been somebody following you when you're shopping and feeling a bit uneasy. There's been a lot of stories like that, and certainly a lot of people tried to convince me not to take my luxury handbags to Paris when I went quite recently. And as touched as I was that people went out of their way to caution me, I made my own decision and I decided to take them, and at no point whatsoever did I feel unsafe. That was just my personal experience. And I had weather to contend with. I was out in public, I was walking around, it was just myself and another female friend for what it's worth, and at no time did I feel unsafe. I also saw a lot of other people carrying luxury handbags. I saw more Hermes Kellys than I've ever seen in my life, just sitting on a cafe table with somebody while they were having a cup of coffee or sitting on the chair beside them. People weren't kind of lock and chaining their bags to themselves. So I do think that for all the scary stories that we hear, there are plenty more unscary stories where we've had quite pleasant experiences that have probably taken a back seat because they don't kind of affect us in the same kind of primal way to, fight, flight, freeze. They are also not the exception to the rule. And we don't really talk about the rule too much, which is, typically speaking, nobody cares what you're wearing. As long as you're in an environment where it's not the bag, but the contents of the bag that people are interested in, then you take the appropriate precautions. And by that I mean it's probably your wallet or your phone or something that's inside of the bag rather than the bag itself that people would be looking for. In any case, it is a personal opinion that you feel safe or you don't feel safe. Nobody can tell you how to feel in those situations. And most of the time we feel how we feel based on our own personal experience, our knowledge of an area, and our comfort levels, who we're with, the stories that we've heard from people we know, and therefore I guess they have more of a sense of truth to them than potentially the stories that we hear on the grapevine that may or may not have been, kind of fluffed up a little bit for views and interaction. So Lydia can reserve the right to determine when she feels safe, whether she be in public or at home, and so can each of us. So I don't think her decision should influence any of us to think any differently about our perspective. It's just one decision-making criteria point. It is not the whole box and dice. The way that Hermes treats people, or she alluded to in her video the process of being able to obtain Hermes bags, and that wasn't particularly something that she wanted to continue to be a part of. I've spoken publicly on that before, and I think, again, in my own experience, having had 2 really positive experiences with Hermes from someone who had been on the totally opposite side of the fence, my experience is not going to be the same as your experience, as the next person and the next person and the next person. And every video that I do that talks about my Hermes journey or what have you, there is a whole bunch of commentary in the comment section around different people's journeys and experiences. I, on my own experience, would not say I haven't enjoyed it. Would not say I felt devalued. Would not say I felt like a monkey at someone else's circus. Would not say that I fell into the trap of buying Birkin bait. Would say that on the whole, compared to a lot of other people, sounds like I've been quite lucky. That is my truth, and so on that basis, I'm not going to say that Hermes treat their clientele poorly, but you may have had a different experience, and so that would influence your decision, and that is fair for you. It's not for me to make an ethical argument about whether or not everybody should boycott a brand just because I've had a bad experience with it. And then finally, this concept of not needing to prove to the world that you belong, or not needing to carry or own luxury pieces, in particular Hermes, that demonstrate a level of success in your life. That life success factors are based on other things. And, you know, whether it be your responsibilities to your family, to your animals, to your job, to your partner. Lydia touched on these things, and that she no longer measured her success or celebrated success, or, you know, attributing her membership to a certain level of society by carrying designer handbags. And to that I would say, again, you decide what makes you feel successful. You decide what you would like to do to celebrate momentous life achievements, or memorialize, or pay tribute to moments or people that have passed in your life. You get to decide that. It is not shallow that you decide to purchase a piece of jewellery to celebrate a special event, or if your equivalent to jewellery is a handbag, or it's a watch, or it's a car, or it's, who knows, a piece of art. You get to decide that and what it says about you. Nobody else does. And so I think that Lydia sharing what it meant to her and no longer means to her, and some of the risks that she's assessed in relation to her life, totally fine. Do I think it's relevant to you and I? No, I don't. It is one small data point in a whole bunch of data points that we have to consider when we're making decisions about who influences us and why. So be keen to understand what you think about this, whether it's even popped up into your feed. Is it a part of the conversations you're having with your luxury loving friends? Or could you care less? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you. I love these little chatty videos. Please give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and consider subscribing if you'd like to come back for more videos where we talk about Hermes, Birkins and Kellys, because I'm just new here, so I have not run out of things to say. On that note, I will catch you in the next one, hopefully. Until then, ciao.